It was a ship built to rule oceans, a floating fortress of gold, ambition, and doom. In 1511, the Flor de la Mar vanished without a trace, along with what many call the greatest treasure ever lost at sea. But behind the storm and the sinking lies something darker: betrayal, forgotten maps, and a mystery that defied kings. This is the untold story of the Flower of the Sea, and the empire it took with it. Beneath the waves of the Malacca Strait lies a ghost, a ship of splendor and steel, treasure and betrayal, lost to the sea in 1511. Her name was Flor de la Mar, the Flower of the Sea, and her final voyage would become legend. Gold enough to ransom empires, jewels never seen again, and whispers of a curse that haunts to this day. This is no mere shipwreck. This is a buried empire. In the early 1500s, Portugal wasn't just a kingdom, it was an empire with sails. The age of discovery was in full swing. Spices, gold, silk, all flowing from the east. But Portugal wanted more. They didn't just seek trade, they sought domination. And to do that, they needed ships, powerful, deadly, and fast. One ship would rise above them all, a ship unlike any before it. Her name meant elegance, Flor de la Mar, the Flower of the Sea, but she was a beast. Over 400 tons, twice the size of most ships of her time, armed with heavy cannons, layered hulls, and a towering deck. She was both beauty and brute force. Built in 1502, she sailed the Indian Ocean under one purpose: to bring back the wealth of Asia to Lisbon. But the sea had other plans. Commanders praised her. Captains feared her. She weathered monsoons, dodged pirates, and hauled spoils from India to Africa. But there was a flaw, a fatal one. She was too big, too heavy, and when storms struck, she struggled. Still, Portugal pushed her onward, because what she carried was priceless. And in 1511 she was tasked with her richest, deadliest voyage yet. That year, Portuguese forces launched a brutal attack on Malacca, the gateway to Asian trade. It was a city of gold, pearls, and sultans. Led by Afonso de Albuquerque, they stormed the city and seized its treasures: palaces stripped, vaults emptied, elephants taken. The loot was staggering. It would all be loaded onto one ship, the Flor de la Mar, and then she vanished. Historians still argue over the value. Some say billions in today's money. Diamonds, emeralds, solid gold statues, ancient maps, all taken from the Sultan of Malacca. Albuquerque wanted to send it back to the King of Portugal as a gift and a warning. But the gods of the sea were not silent. Just days after departure, the skies blackened. Winds rose. The Flower of the Sea was doomed. It was a perfect storm in the worst way: torrential rain, towering waves. The Flor de la Mar began to break apart. Her overloaded hull cracked. Cargo shifted violently. Crew screamed as the ship split near Sumatra. Albuquerque survived, barely clinging to wreckage. But the treasure? Gone. Not a coin recovered. Just like that, the richest ship in history vanished. Why was no rescue mission set? Why no recovery attempt? Because this wasn't just a shipwreck. It was an embarrassment, a political disaster. Albuquerque's enemies at court used it to sabotage his career. Portugal tried to hush it up. No public mourning. No records preserved, just silence, and with it, the mystery deepened. What was really on board, and who wanted it sunk? Whispers grew. that the ship carried not just treasure, but secrets, rare maps of the East, coded letters, forbidden texts plundered from Malacca's libraries, documents that could shift power between empires, and then rumors of a curse, that whoever took the Sultan's gold would meet ruin. Whether legend or truth, one thing was clear: the ocean had claimed its prize. Centuries passed, empires rose and fell, but the Flor de la Mar remained lost. Dozens searched, pirates, historians, treasure hunters. No one found it. Some claimed to see wreckage near the strait. Others swore local fishermen once held ancient Portuguese coins, but no proof ever surfaced. It became the holy grail of shipwrecks, glimmering just beyond reach. In 1992, a Malaysian official declared, "We know where the Flor de la Mar is." He claimed the wreck lay off the coast of Sumatra, buried under centuries of sand and coral. But no expedition followed. Why? Politics, treasure laws, and a dangerous truth. If found, the treasure wouldn't just belong to Portugal. Indonesia, Malaysia, even the Dutch might lay claim. A ship lost is one thing. A ship hidden is another. Some believe the Flor de la Mar was never lost at sea, but secretly salvaged. Survivors may have looted the wreck and buried the treasure inland, somewhere in Sumatra's dense jungles or remote islands. Every now and then someone vanishes searching for it. Others turn up with ancient gold, and no explanation. In the 1980s, rumors swirled that a private collector had obtained a golden statue, supposedly from the Flor de la Mar. Portuguese design, Asian gold, stamped with a mark never seen again. But when journalists tried to trace it, it disappeared. Was it real, a forgery, or part of something bigger, a quiet black market hiding history from the world? Treasure hunters from all over the globe joined the chase. Americans, Dutch, Portuguese, Malaysian divers. Some disappeared in sudden storms. Others found nothing but silence. One diver reported hearing voices chanting beneath the sea near the search zone. He fled the expedition and never returned. Locals called the waters cursed. The sea, they said, remembers. What makes the Flor de la Mar different isn't just the treasure. It's the timing. Her loss shifted the balance of global power. The riches meant to fund Portugal's eastern dominance were gone. Plans for more forts, more fleets, more warships all collapsed. Some say her sinking delayed colonial conquest in Asia by decades. One ship, one storm, a changed world. And what of the man behind it all, Afonso de Albuquerque? A brilliant commander, but ruthless. He burned cities, chained kings, and took trophies of flesh and stone. After the wreck, he was disgraced, stripped of power, sent to die far from Lisbon. His enemies said the sea punished his pride. His supporters believed something else, that he was silenced. In 2011, the 500th anniversary of the ship's loss passed quietly. Portugal said nothing. Indonesia denied treasure rumors. Malaysia refused search permits. It was as if the world agreed. Some things should stay buried. But why? What lies beneath those waters that frightens governments, silences divers, and keeps treasure maps hidden in drawers? What if the treasure was cursed? Not by magic, but by history. Gold stolen in blood, manuscripts seized in war, statues once sacred, now smuggled. To find it would be to confront a legacy of colonialism, greed, and forgotten civilizations. Perhaps the Flor de la Mar is less a ship and more a mirror, a reflection of everything empires tried to erase. Still, the ocean keeps secrets, and the Flor de la Mar keeps calling. New technology, sonar, satellite imaging, deep-sea drones could one day locate her. Her wreck may lie shattered across the seabed, her treasures scattered like stars. Or perhaps she was never down there at all. Perhaps she's waiting somewhere no one's thought to look. So where is she? In the sands of Sumatra? In a billionaire's vault? Or forever lost beneath storm-dark waves? The truth is this: the Flor de la Mar isn't just a ship. She's a legend, a warning, a question that never fades. The flower of the sea bloomed in glory and vanished in silence, and her story is not over yet. Picture it: gold bars stacked like bricks, gem-encrusted daggers, silk embroidered with rare dyes, artifacts dating back centuries, looted from palaces and temples, all loaded onto one ship, and gone. Not a splinter of hull, not a single cannon recovered. No official salvage, just silence. How does the richest ship in history disappear without a trace? Some believe the answer lies in ancient maps, Portuguese sea charts hidden for centuries. A few survived, and on them, a small cryptic mark near Sumatra's northern coast. A skull, not a pirate sign, but a warning, older than the empire. Locals say the area is taboo. Ships wreck there often. Compasses spin. Radios fail. They call it the Devil's Triangle of Asia. In 2004, a tsunami struck the region. When the waters receded, fishermen claimed to see something massive timbers and twisted iron beneath the sand. Could it have been the Flor de la Mar? Before anyone could investigate, the sea swallowed it again. Nature or fate? It was as if the ocean refused to give up its secret. Then came the salvagers, underwater archaeologists, corporate-backed divers, even rogue treasure hunters, all chasing shadows. The Malaysian government eventually banned recovery efforts. They feared looting, but some whispered something else, that a team had found something once, something so strange. It had to be kept secret. A diary surfaced in 1997, written by a Portuguese priest stationed in Malacca. In it, he describes artifacts recovered from a wreck, a golden idol, too large for a man to carry, and a black stone tablet covered in unknown writing. Days later, the entry stops. Blank pages follow. The diary ends. No name, no explanation, just silence. There's a pattern here, a ship full of stolen treasure, a wreck no one can find, governments that won't allow searches, rumors of cursed items, vanishing researchers, ancient warnings. Something about the Flor de la Mar makes powerful people nervous, and nervous people hide things. In 2015, a deep-sea sonar scan picked up an anomaly near the northern tip of Sumatra. Roughly 400 tons of irregular metal shapes resting 200 feet down. Divers were sent, but currents were too strong. The report vanished. No follow-up mission was ever launched. The coordinates classified. To this day, no one's explained what was down there. One theory suggests the treasure still exists, broken into pieces, scattered along old trade routes, sold, hidden, melted. A few suspect that rare gemstones in European museums today came from that very ship, but tracing them is impossible. And no one wants to admit their crown jewel came from a lost empire and a looted city. The mystery of the Flor de la Mar isn't just a tale of gold. It's a web of silence. Every new clue leads to a dead end. Every whisper fades into denial. But there's a feeling you can't shake, that somewhere, deep beneath the sea or buried inland under jungle and mud, the flower of the sea waits, untouched, untold, undefeated by time. She may never be found, or perhaps she already has been. Maybe a few know the truth. Maybe the treasure's been kept quiet, piece by piece, decade by decade, because history is full of missing pages. And this one, this golden, sunken, storm-swallowed page might hold more than just riches. It may hold the key to rewriting empire itself. What makes this ship matter isn't just the gold. It's the erasure. No other Portuguese shipwreck has been so heavily silenced, so fiercely protected, so completely undocumented. It's as if the world agreed to forget her. But why? What was on board that was so dangerous? It had to vanish not just from maps, but from memory. Some say the Flor de la Mar carried religious artifacts, relics stolen from temples and mosques. Others whisper of scrolls taken from the libraries of Malacca, containing knowledge that predated Western empires. Forbidden history, heresy to some, power to others. And when the ship sank, it all disappeared, as if it had never existed. It's said that Albuquerque himself regretted the loot, that as the storm cracked his ship apart, he wept not for the treasure, but for the sin. He claimed to see a ghostly figure on deck, a woman in silk soaked in sea water, eyes glowing white. She spoke no words. She only pointed down, then vanished. He never told anyone, except in his final letter. Was it guilt, madness, or something worse? That letter, once stored in Lisbon's Royal Archive, mysteriously burned in a fire in 1755. The archivist who'd read it vanished days later. His journal remained. One line circled again and again. The sea did not take her. The sea was told to. It's the only clue we have, to a truth no one dares name. Modern expeditions face more than storms. They face lawsuits. In 2001, a private treasure firm announced plans to search for the Flor de la Mar. The response? 5 nations threatened legal action. The UN intervened. 1 researcher was arrested. Equipment confiscated. Why so much resistance? For a ship everyone claims is lost? Some believe she sank with documents, ancient trade treaties, navigation secrets from Chinese, Arab, and Malay sources. These were knowledge empires, centuries ahead in astronomy and medicine. If Portugal stole it, and it was never recovered, then the modern world may have been built on forgotten genius, lost to the waves. The deeper the wreck, the darker the truth. Beneath 500 years of sand and secrecy may lie a story that reshapes global history, a reminder that empires rose not by merit, but by theft, by fire, by force. The Flor de la Mar isn't just sunken wealth. It's sunken memory, and memory fights to surface. One diver who searched the coast of Sumatra swears he saw it. A curved hull like a sleeping whale, broken but massive. He reached for it and was pulled back, his oxygen line cut. He nearly died. He refused to speak of it again. But his final words on the sub-recorder, "She's watching me," then silence. Some call the Flor de la Mar cursed. Others call her sacred. A few believe she's protected by spirits of the sea, not as punishment, but as preservation, that what she carries isn't meant for our age. that it belongs to the past, and if disturbed, the sea will rise again to take back what was stolen. Still the story spreads. In secret chat rooms, whispered lectures, forbidden documents, the ship of gold, the stolen empire, the vanishing flower. Whether myth or history, one truth remains. The Flor de la Mar haunts every map, every storm, every treasure hunter's dream, because sometimes the greatest treasure is the one you're not meant to find. A ship lost in 1511, yet it still shapes 21st century borders. You see, if that treasure were found Malaysia, Indonesia, Portugal, even China might stake claims. Gold brings pride, yes, but also politics. To admit the wreck's location is to risk a diplomatic storm. So instead, silence. Safer to let her rot than to ignite an international war. And then there's the map no one talks about, held in a private archive in Geneva. It shows a Portuguese shipwreck far inland miles from the coast, buried beneath a dried-up riverbed. The date? 1512, just months after the Flor de la Mar sank. Could the survivors have hauled the treasure away, hidden it where no storm could reach? A secret society, the Order of the Dragon, was said to guard certain imperial relics after the fall of Malacca. Portuguese records mention a brotherhood of the bloom sworn to protect the flower. Most historians dismiss it as legend. But strange, isn't it, that a brotherhood named after a flower appears right when the Flor de la Mar vanishes? Could the Flor de la Mar have been found centuries ago and hidden again? There's a theory that the treasure didn't sink. It was moved, piece by piece, passed through priesthoods, smuggled through colonial networks, dispersed to secret buyers, which means the real treasure may be all around us, in plain sight. In 1979, an anonymous art dealer sold a golden astrolabe to a European collector. It bore Portuguese symbols, but the inscription? In classical Malay, to know the stars is to know your fate. The dealer vanished, the buyer died mysteriously. The astrolabe's current location? Unknown, but experts agree it likely came from one ship. The Flower of the Sea. What a name, elegant, beautiful. But flowers wilt, and this one drowned, or so we think. But what if the flower wasn't a ship, but a code? A cipher used by the Portuguese to mark their greatest secrets? What if saying Flor de la Mar wasn't naming a vessel, but unlocking a hidden world? The Malay chronicles describe a floating palace of gold that arrived and vanished. Not a battle, not a fire, just a storm, a scream, and silence. Locals say it carried something too powerful for any man to own. Not treasure, not weapons, but truth. Truth so dangerous the sea itself had to hide it. A modern expedition in 2019 sent a drone 200 feet below. It captured images, carved stone, barnacle-covered gold. A cannon unlike any seen before. The footage was deleted from servers. The lead researcher resigned. Another died in a car accident. Coincidence or another warning? When the sea speaks? Wise men, listen. We are drawn to shipwrecks not just for the gold, but for what they represent. Lost potential, forgotten empires, truths buried in the dark. The Flor de la Mar is more than a legend. She's a time capsule, a locked vault at the bottom of history, and the key might be something no one dares turn. So we wait and wonder, every sonar ping, every whispered rumor, every gold coin on a black market table. Could it be hers? We chase the ghost, not because we want to find her, but because part of us hopes we never do. Some stories are too powerful, some truths too dangerous, and the Flor de la Mar may be both. History forgets what it's told to forget, but whispers survive. In fishing villages along Sumatra's coast, old men speak of a ship that sings beneath the waves, not groans of timbers, but music, a haunting lullaby. They say those who hear it disappear. Some say it's the souls of drowned men. Others say it's the treasure calling home. And still, the ship haunts the records. A Portuguese manifest lists one idol of unknown metal, said to hum when touched, taken from a ruined temple, not gold, not silver, but something else. That idol was on the Flor de la Mar. If real, it could rewrite everything we know about metallurgy and maybe about human history. The Dutch East India Company later claimed parts of Malacca's treasure, reappeared in Batavia, but the records were sealed. One ledger found years later lists a crate labeled, "Property of the Flower." No explanation, no destination. The crate was lost in transit, or was it redirected? The wreck's location has been narrowed down at least 6 times, and every time something stops the dig. Legal blocks, sudden storms, vanishing sponsors. In one case, the lead archaeologist abandoned the project overnight, left behind only one message. She doesn't want to be found. Who is she? The ship? Or something on it? A CIA report from 1968, declassified in fragments, mentions maritime anomalies near the Strait of Malacca, strange magnetic shifts, unexplainable signal loss. One line stands out. Potential connection to Flor artifact remains unconfirmed. Flor artifact, not Flor de la Mar. Was the ship just the start of something bigger? You start to wonder, what if Flor de la Mar was a cover, a code name for something beyond treasure, a secret carried across oceans disguised as conquest? The ship sinks, the gold is lost. But maybe that was always the plan. Hide something so well, the whole world would forget to look. Flor de la Mar didn't just carry wealth, she carried a wound. The fall of Malacca was brutal fire, death, betrayal. Maybe the ship was cursed because of what it represented. A stolen civilization, a broken promise. Some say the storm that sank her wasn't nature, it was justice. The sea rising in rage. In recent years, treasure hunters have gone silent. It's no longer about gold, it's about fear. Too many close calls. Too many accidents. A man finds an ancient coin and vanishes. A team scans the seabed, and their boat sinks. Patterns, warnings, as if the ocean is guarding a grave too sacred to disturb. But still the call remains. The Flor de la Mar is more than wreckage. She is obsession. She is legend. A puzzle built from missing pages, sealed vaults, and sunken bones. And maybe that's her true power. Not the treasure, but the mystery. The question she keeps alive, centuries after she drowned. And perhaps that's the real reason she was never found. Not because we can't, but because we shouldn't. Because if we drag her from the sea, if we strip away her secrets, we might lose something irreplaceable. The myth, the mystery, the warning. The Flor de la Mar is still out there, and maybe that's exactly where she belongs. Every generation faces the temptation to find the Flor de la Mar, to unlock her secrets. But the deeper we dig, the more shadows grow. The sea doesn't just hide treasure, it hides truth. And sometimes truth is a burden too heavy to bear. The Flor de la Mar reminds us, some histories are meant to stay beneath the waves. In secret vaults across Europe, some scholars argue about the ship's true legacy. Was she just a vessel or a symbol? The last flower of an empire fading fast. A warning to those who seek to conquer without mercy. Her story is a mirror reflecting greed, ambition, and loss. A caution whispered through centuries of silence. If the Flor de la Mar were to rise again, what would she tell us? Of empires built on stolen gold? Of lives lost to storms and betrayal? Of cultures erased in the name of progress? Her timbers soaked with secrets? Her decks haunted by ghosts? She is history's reminder that not all treasures glitter, and not all stories have happy endings. Some believe the treasure includes priceless manuscripts, scrolls, that could rewrite Asian and European history. Maps showing unknown continents, technologies centuries ahead of their time. If these were ever uncovered, the world would tremble. But such knowledge is dangerous, too powerful, too disruptive. And maybe that's why the sea keeps it safe. Today, satellite technology scans the ocean floor like never before. The Flor de la Mar lies beneath layers of coral and sediment, detectable, maybe even visible. Yet the hunt remains elusive. For every sonar beep that echoes a possible find, there's a counter-whisper. Not yet, not now. The flower still blooms, quietly. In folklore, flowers symbolize life and death, bloom and decay. The Flor de la Mar blooms underwater lost, but alive in memory. She is a symbol of ambition's cost, of glory chased and lost to the depths, of a flower that was beautiful, but fragile. And when the sea claimed her, it claimed more than gold. It claimed a story. And so adventurers and dreamers still set sail, some driven by greed, others by history, all searching for the Flor de la Mar, the ghost ship, the treasure, the legend. But few return with answers. Most come back with stories of silence, of storms, of a flower that refuses to die but refuses to be found. In museums, scattered relics may be all that remain. Pieces of gold, weapons, statues, and coins, each with a story untold. Each a fragment of a puzzle. And as you watch this, remember, somewhere beneath the waves the Flor de la Mar waits. Her secrets locked in darkness, waiting for the day when the sea finally lets her bloom again. The Flower of the Sea, a story of mystery, loss, power, and silence. A ship that shaped empires, then vanished from history. Her legend reminds us sometimes what's lost is not just treasure. It's the truth about ourselves, the price of ambition, and the cost of empire. The Flor de la Mar is not just a shipwreck. She is a legacy. So as waves crash and tides turn, remember the Flor de la Mar, the flower that sailed into legend, the treasure that remains hidden, the mystery that endures. And maybe, just maybe, some treasures are meant to stay lost, because some stories are more powerful in silence, and some flowers are best left beneath the sea. The Flor de la Mar remains a haunting mystery lost beneath the waves but alive in our imagination, a symbol of empire, ambition, and secrets too dangerous to reveal. Whether legend or truth, her story reminds us that history is never just what's written. Sometimes it's what lies hidden beneath the surface, waiting patiently to be discovered. If you're fascinated by stories like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the rarest and most mysterious tales from history. What do you think the Flor de la Mar still holds? Let me know in the comments below.